It's that time again where I run down what I think are the top 10 games of the year. Choosing a top 10 for 2021 has been especially hard. Despite all the delays, there have been a lot of fantastic games, but nothing that's really stood out head and shoulders above the rest, quite like with previous years. So with that said, stick around and see which ones made the cut for 2021. Starting off at number 10 is Kena Bridge of Spirits, an action-adventure game for the PS5, PS4 and PC. This is a game I was excited for ever since it was announced, however there was always an element of doubt in my mind because it was being created by Ember Lab, who are an animation studio and had never created a game before. Thankfully those worries were quickly swept aside when I got my hands on it, providing a visually stunning art style with a light-hearted but engaging Pixar-esque story and surprisingly challenging gameplay. It certainly isn't perfect, there is plenty of room left for improvement in a potential sequel, but this is a great start to a series I really hope we see more of. If there is a Kena 2, I'm expecting big things from it. Coming in at number 9 is Resident Evil Village, a direct continuation of Ethan Winters' story. While it doesn't quite capture the same tense, scary atmosphere of RE7, it is successful in almost every other way. My only real grievance with RE8 is with its ending, making a stark turn from its survival horror gameplay to a very action-based shooter that doesn't ruin the experience, but doesn't quite finish it off in the way I had hoped. The castle section towards the beginning is particularly good, as are each of the lords you face against in your quest to get your daughter back. RE8 isn't quite as outstanding as RE7, but it's still great and had me hooked from start to finish. Number 8 goes to Tales of Arise. The Tales series has been around a long time. 2003's Symphonia and 2008's Vesperia are some of the series' best, and while none of the later ones were bad by any means, more recent ones like Zestiria didn't capture my attention nearly as much. Tales of Arise on the other hand is one of my favourites in the series. The move to the Unreal 4 engine, a new combat system, and a fantastic art style combined together to make an incredible presentation. The story it tells is also surprisingly good. Sure, it still has the cliche JRPG nuances you expect from the genre, but also covers real topics like oppression. If you aren't into JRPGs, Tales of Arise probably won't win you over, but if you are, this is one of the best in the last few years. Taking spot number 7 is Deathloop by Arcane Studios, the creators of Dishonored 1 and 2. Deathloop is in many ways similar to Dishonored, except for the fact the main protagonist Cole is stuck in a time loop that sees time reset more or less every other death or when the day ends. Your task is to try and kill 8 people known as the Visionaries in order to stop the loop, making use of intel you gather during each loop that will help you tackle them all. What makes Deathloop so good is the freedom you have. You choose how to tackle objectives as well as the Visionaries themselves. The game doesn't hold your hand or tell you what you have to do, and there is a lot of satisfaction in seeing a plan you've come up with executed effectively. And number 6 is Forza Horizon 5. Every couple of years we get a new Forza Horizon, and each time they manage to raise their already high bar. With this entry, the Horizon Festival moves from the UK to Mexico, and it's the biggest map ever in the series, with more things to do than ever before, with every inch looking absolutely incredible, especially on a Series X or high-end PC. The only real problem Forza Horizon has here on out is that they pretty much perfected its formula at this point, and I struggle to think how they can meaningfully improve the next one outside of new settings. That might sound like a put down, but if anything it's a testament to how excellent Forza Horizon 5 is. Coming in at number 5 is Metroid Dread. It's been a long time since the last new 2D Metroid released, and boy, this is a great return for them. Metroid Dread pits Samus against the EMMI, robots that will hunt her down to no end, and each encounter with them is always a heart-pounding rush. The action is fast and frantic, with every boss fight being excellent. I particularly like the cutscenes before and after each of them. They gave me serious Doom vibes. I'm not the biggest Metroid fan generally, but Metroid Dread is an extremely solid game that has actually increased my interest in the next 3D title, Metroid Prime 4. And number 4 is Halo Infinite. At the end of 2020, Halo Infinite was in a bad place. Initial impressions were so low over its visuals, it became a meme, forcing Microsoft to delay it from its Xbox Series X launch by a whole year. Well, it's finally here, and it's actually good, really good. This is the best the core gameplay has felt in years, leaps and bounds better than Halo 5, and while the graphics aren't state of the art, they are quite nice now. The game isn't perfect, the multiplayer progression is a mess, and there are missing features like firefight and campaign co-op that should have been there at launch. Even with those issues though, the more open world campaign is great fun, and is the most I've been hooked in a multiplayer despite its progression issues since Halo 3. Moving into the top 3, we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. It goes without saying that Rift Apart is an incredible looking game. In fact, I think it's the best looking game I've ever seen, but it's not just its visuals that impress. Rift Apart is one of the few games to really take advantage of the PS5's super fast SSD and integrates that into its core design with a dimension mechanic, allowing you to instantly move into entirely new environments in the blink of an eye, something that was never possible on last gen hardware. Gameplay wise it's the best so far, weapons are more creative than ever, and make great use of the new DualSense's features. The only negative thing I have to say is that I wish it was longer. At only 8 to 9 hours, it's a little short when you factor in its $70 retail price, but every second of it is sheer quality. Moving on to spot number 2 is a game I never expected to be as remarkable as it is, It Takes Two. What looks to be a fairly bog standard co-op platformer is a title that constantly introduces new gameplay mechanics and makes every single level feel entirely fresh, with each mechanic never overstaying its welcome before moving on to the next. Combine this aspect with co-op that is extremely well designed, and It Takes Two is an absolute joy to play all the way through. I can't think of many other occasions I've had so much fun playing a game with someone else, and I was genuinely gutted when the credits rolled. The story itself isn't particularly noteworthy, but it's not about its predictable conclusion, it's a journey getting there that makes it truly special. Before I jump into the Game of the Year for 2021, here's a reminder of the Game of the Year for the last few years. These were Persona 5 in 2017, God of War in 2018, Sekiro's Shadows Die Twice in 2019, and The Last of Us Part 2 in 2020. And that of course leads us to the Game of the Year for 2021, which goes to Psychonauts 2. I never really played the original Psychonauts, so while fans have waited a long time for a sequel, I went in with zero expectations, but was pleasantly surprised by how great its writing and art style are, as well as how polished it is. To be honest, if the likes of God of War Ragnarok or Horizon Forbidden West had released in 2021, it's likely this wouldn't be the Game of the Year. But that doesn't take away what Double Fine have accomplished here. They managed to take the original from 2005 and make a sequel that doesn't feel dated at all. Each mind you explore is filled with creativity, and it handles various mental illnesses fantastically. After such a long wait, Psychonauts 2 could have easily been a big letdown, but it's quite the opposite. It excels in almost every way, and I highly recommend it. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for a notification each time I upload new content. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video.